Hi, Sarah Hunter. The other half was Sandra Cruze of Two Heads Are Better Productions. You've got to come and see our recent adventure, Escape from the Garden, and you're going to find out all about it now. When did I fall in love with theater and why do I have to be part of it? I would say that it was before I was 5 years old. I grew up in West Lafayette, Indiana, city of lights, city of magic. And my father was a professor at Purdue University, and my mother had been an actress and director and teacher back on the East Coast of theater. And she hauled my sister and I to the ballets that would come to town and the theater pieces that would come to town. And I fell in love with it, started writing my own little hideous dramas. And we would put them on in Sarah Carling's backyard and charge a quarter to get in, use a sheet and for our curtain and a stage. I don't know what the hell the stage was. What do you suppose it was? Like a turned over table. It was fun. I loved it. That's what got me into it. I would say that biggest realization early on was that there is nothing in the world like the theater experience. Now I can watch my favorite movies over and over and over, like a dozen times, however many times I want. And Katharine Hepburn or Vivien Leigh or any of the people on the screen are not going to give a different performance. They are captured for history at that age and that particular performance. And I love film, I love TV. But in the theater, there are no two performances that are like. That to me, it's a holy sacrament. You walk in there and you sit there and the audience becomes one with you, and the audience gives the actors the energy the audience has on that particular performance. And then the actors commune with that, and it's ethereal, it's magical, it's a one-time only thing. That actress is going to say those lines just that way, that night, on that date, in that year, and it's never going to be the same. When did I fall in love with writing and storytelling and an obsession? Well, I would say that I'm an obsessive person, period. I've got 31 years of sobriety, so compulsive, obsessive personality, addictive, God only knows. I just think that I was always coming up with stories to escape my reality and not having the self-confidence and the wherewithal to do something with it at a really early age. I just kept writing little stories and making little skits and creating shenanigans for everybody I was around. So I did that automatically. I'll have a minute somewhere. I'll just be somewhere at a restaurant or a store or in the car, and I'll think of a character, if the character does not amuse me or resonate to me in my heart, it doesn't come up again. But if it does, like Tracy in my play right now, Tracy in the Kitchen, the name of my play is Escape from the Garden, but it started out years ago, about 3 or 4 years ago, as Tracy in the Kitchen, because I became really interested in her. So my process is, when I write, I come up with an idea, and then if it stays with me and it continues to fascinate me, I'll take that person and I'll put him into situations. One of my writing teachers said, you throw somebody up a tree, and then the rest of the play, you got to figure out how to rescue them and get them back down. And I really think that's kind of the truth, because you get that character going. And what's interesting for me in the process, because I'm writing another play right now, I start just letting him talk. I get the characters. I let them talk to each other. And if they're just talking into the air, I just edit, release. I'm not a writer. I've never been, because I write poetry and short stories too. I have never been the kind of writer who holds her writing sacred and holy, and how dare you ask me to change that line. I'm used to, when I work with my writing teacher, my muse, Jamie Brandley, and she is a fabulous writer. She has a process, and I believe in her process, which is you read the play out loud, so you hear the other classmates or actors saying your words. And then as a writer, I ask the question, what popped for you? What grabbed you? And what took you out? Where's the bump? So I listen to where my play is bumping out, where somebody might say to me, I don't understand why she does this in Act 1, Scene 4, when in Act 1, Scene 3, she talked about a different motivation. And I'll change it to make it better, because my goal as a writer is to be understood. I've been to so many plays in the Los Angeles area where I sit and I go, oh my God, what is the point? What's the central dramatic question? And why am I going to be interested in this person? I'm old, so I'm the kind of person I need to root for a protagonist. And I like, like in the series Fleabag, that central, did you see it? That the central character is conflicted. And I'm fascinated by conflicted heroes and heroines. And I love that. Nobody has to be perfect for me, because I don't believe anybody's perfect. But in the process of writing, I try to look for where the central character, where the protagonist is going to have aha moments, and where the change is going to occur, where they might bottom out, where they might rise up again, where something is driving the person on to discover something about himself. So when I write, that's what I do. I got to fall in love with the character in a situation, and then I got to explore that person and create the person's world. I think the world of a film, a TV show, and a play is to invite people into that world. So I think the writer really has to understand that world. Sandy and Sandy has for decades been a performer as well as an artist in the more visual sense. She had her own hair salon called Eloise for, 20 years or more. And she was doing my hair, and we were chatting with each other. We had known each other for a few years, and we're chatting with each other. And I said, well, I write. And she said, oh, well, I was singing. I was, sang in a reggae band and wrote some stuff and did some stuff in downtown LA in the 80s. And I said, you did? We started talking. This was 1998. We started having this conversation. So I said to her, yeah, I've got some one-act plays. Let's do them. She said, yeah, let's do them. So unlike many people who, talk to each other and say, let's do it, even if it's lunch, they never do it. But I showed up again. And I said, okay, here's my one-act plays. Let's cast them. Let's do them. And we started producing together and acting and writing together in 1998. Now, we did that first show that I wrote called Got Estrogen. And it was 2 one-act plays. It was Unplugged and Off the Hook. And then the second one was Got Estrogen. So anyway, long story short, we reunited again in about, and the show was good. There wasn't any animosity. We just didn't do anything again until about 2000 and, what is it now? 2022, 2010. And at that point, we started having poetry and song once a month on a Sunday at her salon. because my dream has always been to do Gertrude Stein Paris Salon thing. And we started producing my plays, her plays, and also other people's, Carol Churchill's Top Girls, and we did 12 Angry Men, and we did The Fourth Wall, A.R., I think it's Gurney, I forgot his last name. We did a tribute to Tennessee Williams, did a couple of my original plays. And we just kept on. And during that process, we said, well, what the heck? We're two heads and we keep, we're two women, older, and we keep doing productions. Let's do a company, Two Heads Are Better Productions. And that's what we do. And we wrote a web series that we're in. It's called We're Not Dead Yet. And it's Dita and Lily getting into trouble all over the Los Angeles area, trying to learn how to act and create over the age of 70, because we both are. So we've had fun and we work together. And she's the lead in my play. Tracy in the Kitchen, the question is, how did I have to do this and how did this idea come? I took the Padua Players Summer Workshop. I think it was 2018. So it was about like 3 or 4 years ago. And I started writing this play, Tracy in the Kitchen, just because I sat down and I started thinking about this woman who has put herself in self-inflicted exile in her kitchen, and she won't leave her kitchen. And then I started to explore her. And then I started really having fun with her. Oh, so I did a little 10-minute presentation of Tracy in the Kitchen. Well, now I thought, oh my God, I'm really fascinated with Tracy and why she's locked up in this kitchen. And then I thought, oh my God, she's a failed actress who's writing a play about Marie Antoinette. So this is a play within a play. Tracy's ride to the guillotine, of course, is that she does Blanche DuBois in Streetcar Named Desire and totally bombs. Well, now her ego is shattered. She's totally shattered, and she loses everything. The house in Encino. She's an actress who's done 5 seasons of Who's Geneva, and now she decides to go down to the Ahmanson to do Blanche DuBois, and a critic from the LA Times completely destroys her. So she locks herself up in her Two Palms Villa apartment in Van Nuys with a mini fridge, and starts inflicting her histrionic crisis, which is, I think, hysterically funny, on her family and anybody that walks in the apartment. She makes them read lines to this horrible play she's writing about Marie Antoinette. She's not conscious that she does view her life as parallel in its structure to Marie Antoinette, somebody who's been riding high, born with a silver spoon, who gets her head chopped off. In her case, her career. And it goes on and on. She gets the maintenance man to think he's going to sleep with her, and she doesn't. And her husband, Carl's a high school English teacher. Her daughter is an actress and lands a part as Bianca in Taming of the Shrew. And Tracy's horrible play she's writing, she begs her daughter to take it down to the director at Boston Court to read her play. And of course, she gets a terrible review. But the idea for the play about a woman whose ego is shattered, who thinks her life is supposed to have some sort of importance through the adoration of her fans and her audience, discovers what really matters by the second act, which is her family. Because Marie Antoinette comes to her in the kitchen, fully dressed, and kicks her ass. And so the idea, I think, that most of us have is that we don't like to think that we're narcissistic. We don't like to think we've got an ego that's fragile. When it comes down to it, if we're lucky, we may discover that indeed we are fragile and we're human and we have egos. And if we're willing to reinvent the way we see ourselves, we can then change our actions and probably get what we're really supposed to get and really want to get. And Tracy rises from the phoenix, rises from the ashes like a phoenix by the end of the play, and ends up getting something that's real for herself. But she has the shenanigans through the whole thing, and she's very funny. You know, getting the Amazon delivery guy to read lines of Louis XVI and the Vito's pizza guy. He says, well, I can't act. I'm not an actor. What am I reading here? And she says, well, you're reading the lines of Louis XVI. And this is the part where Louis XVI, and he says, all right, lady. And of course, they all run out of the apartment because she's always in her bathrobe. And they run the hell out of there because she's a crazy woman. She's lit on fire trying to create this play called Escape from the Garden, where, as the reviewer says, Escape from the Garden, written by Miss Tracy Greene, is no escape. And he just destroys it. So she rises up and creates a one-woman show as Marie Antoinette and takes it down to a 99-seat theater. She never gives up her obsession. My personal obsession, which is how I got Marie Antoinette in there to parallel a falling actress, is I started reading about her maybe 20 years ago. And I've read so many books about Marie Antoinette that when I took the private tour at Versailles, the guide said to me, you want to go ahead and do the tour because you know more about her than I do. I keep reading and reading and reading about her. And here's what fascinates me. This is a woman born of the 11th child of the Empress of Austria. She had more than everything given to her as a child. She was a princess. And she ended up, basically, Thomas Jefferson said Marie Antoinette was the cause of the French Revolution. She ended up being the most vilified, most detested woman in Europe, and certainly in all of France, and had her head chopped off 9.5 months after hubby, Louis XVI, had his head chopped off. And so I became interested in a story that was the reverse of Cinderella, the reverse there. And so she began to fascinate me. So it took about 3 years to write this play and rewrite it, 3 or 4. And then I was able to figure out a sensibility to make Tracy and Marie Antoinette kind of parallel characters. Only Tracy's reversal comes in time for her not to be beheaded. When she reads her review about the terrible play she wrote in her kitchen there in Van Nuys, she says to her daughter, oh, this is the director's critique. And Diane says to her daughter, Mother, I asked you not to make me do this. You know, I asked you not to make me take this play down for the director to read. And Tracy says, is this my ride to the guillotine? Which in fact it is. And then she has to put her head back on and decide to do a one-woman show to give Marie Antoinette some honor rather than this crap that we've heard coming, you know, where she gets everybody to read this terrible play she's writing. Sandy started reading my play because we read each other's works because we co-write our series together. We're Not Dead Yet. And she fell in love with Tracy, thought she was hysterically funny. And I said, well, great. Then you've got to play Tracy. And she said, oh my God, I'd kill to play Tracy. You know, what actress doesn't want to be on stage for 2 hours? You know, she doesn't ever leave the stage. So we started in rehearsals. And then she would call me and say, I'm going to kill you. She'd say, I am so angry with you because it's so hard to memorize 2 hours worth of material, never leave stage. So finally, as it continued on and she started falling in love with Tracy, because Tracy's she's a narcissist. Every time her daughter says, oh, I just got cast as Bianca in Shrew, Tracy says, I was a wonderful Kate when I did Kate down at the fountain, you know. And she always brings it back to herself. So I think Sandy was concerned that Tracy might not be lovable. And Sandra Sandy has done such a good job making Tracy real, such a brilliant job, I think she has, that you absolutely adore her by the time the play's over, and you can feel that narcissistic, self-centeredness kind of vanquish from her, drain away, because often when we bottom out on bad behavior, I'm speaking for myself, when I bottom out on bad behavior, I can usually rise up and get better. And that's what the heroine does. So she's having a wonderful time doing it. I think she's perfect for it. My director, Marianne Davis Rago, has directed a couple of other shows of ours. She's a genius. She's absolutely a genius. And she is a workaholic. When we would finish rehearsal, and she's got a 7-year-old kid and 2 jobs, and she's in graduate school. So she would wrap up our rehearsals at maybe 9:30 or 10, and then get down to the theater and be there till 2 or 3 in the morning, helping design lights with our lighting designer who's a genius, Stephen Nymphos, Marianne Davis Rago. I know she wanted to do the very best job that she could do with my play to present the hysterical comedy at the same time that it's heartbreaking and heartwarming. So I got to mention her first. Jules Hoover, who plays Sandy's daughter, Diane, a dream to work with, a dream actress. She's fabulous. Michael Selle, who plays Tracy's husband, Carl, the father of Diane, the most professional person I think I've ever worked with, shows up at the first rehearsal with all his lines memorized. I mean, he's brilliant. He's wonderful. He's kind. Then we have Aurelia Bocanegra, who plays Ned, the maintenance man. Oh my God, what a sweetheart. It's like, how have I been lucky to find these men and these women? Bill is the delivery guy. There's 3 delivery guys. They are absolutely the high points of the comedy. And he is beautiful. I mean, his mother's German, his father's Costa Rican. He's a Ford model. When I tell you he's beautiful, I mean, oh my God, you can't take your eyes off him. All of my friends say, Sarah, where did you get this God, this great God? And he's a sweetheart, and he's very kind, and he's very beautiful, and he is hysterically funny. And he didn't even know he was funny until he started doing this, and now he's just he gets a thunderous applause when he comes in as the costume guy. Come knocks on Tracy's door, Broadway bound costumes. And we know that Tracy is not Broadway bound with that crap she's writing. And before he leaves, she of course has him read a snippet of the play, the part where Count Fersen, Marie Antoinette's lover, goes to the colonies in America to fight with the French. And then when he leaves, he says to her, I smell a Tony. Your play is gone with the wind, meets dangerous liaison. And Tracy, of course, who's lost her mind, says, oh, Tony, dangerous liaisons, escape from the garden. I mean, it's madness. It's a funny kind of madness. And he's wonderful. And then, Grace Marie Serafina is like a human gnat. She's behind the scenes, getting people in and out of costumes, setting up props. Mary Olson Kelly was my roommate back in Hawaii in 1976, and she's returned to LA, and she's also a writer and a director and a costumer. And she's out there helping me with props and box office and tickets. And then Joseph Krantz has shown up like a little angel. He's a fundraiser, and he has shown up and helps with tickets. I have the best crew of people that anybody could dream of. So, and they work as a great ensemble. There's nobody, you know how when you go to a play and you can tell someone's an asshole, you know, like, and kind of the other actors are acting with them, but you kind of go, I'll bet this guy's a jerk to work with. I don't have one of those. Every person I have around me in this is an absolute angel to work with. I'm lucky. What do I want the audience to get out of Escape from the Garden? I want them to be entertained. I want to do what theater is supposed to do. Teach you something new, startle you, give you something to think about and talk about, and have a hell of a good time. And, you know, maybe cry a little, you know, be inspired, maybe get some tears. Hold on. Yeah, be inspired, have a great time, be moved, have something to think about. All the reasons I love theater. Sandy and I went to see Bryan Cranston. I love Bryan Cranston in The Power of the Sale. Not crazy about the play, and yet crazy about his performance. So there's, you know, it's like you come away with something to talk about the whole way back in the car. And I go to theater all the time. I have my whole life. I'm never going to stop going to theater. You know, I have my favorite TV, you know, my favorite series I watch. I love British series. I love movies. I've always been in love with movies, but there's never been a time, no matter how broke I am, that, you know, that I don't get a ticket and go to the theater, because it's a sacred experience. I live about 10 minutes away from a Nuys Within, and that's a classical repertory company. So I've been lucky enough to go see The Maids and Wilderness, and they'll do Shakespeare, you know, and I'll go down to the Fountain, Boston Court, Nuys Within, Ahmanson, all the time, just always going to the theater. And when I get back in the car and I can talk to whoever I've gone to the play with the whole way home, and maybe we can debate, maybe we can argue, maybe we can just rhapsodize. Theater should be exciting. Falling asleep in your seat is the kiss of death. If anybody falls asleep at Escape from the Garden, they'd have to have narcolepsy, because otherwise you're awake. What do I look for when I'm at my own production, which I am, because I help one of the actresses get in and out of a costume in the lobby. So I sit at the back. I'm looking for how the actors are performing. I'm looking for whatever I can find out I need to change. I'm looking for whatever works. I'm looking for both. And I'm looking to see if the audience is getting it. Why should people come to see Escape from the Garden, AKA Tracy in the Kitchen? I think if you want to find out more about acting, because Tracy is an actress and she talks about that a lot. If you want to find out more about the showbiz and entertainment world and how it emotionally affects somebody, you should come to see Escape from the Garden. I think if you want to find out more about Marie Antoinette, you should come to see Escape from the Garden. I think if you want a good laugh, you definitely come to see the, you know, Samantha called it hysterical. I think it's hysterical, and I wrote it. And if you also want to cry a little bit, because Marie Antoinette had some depth and had a very bad ending, come to see it. There's a lot of reasons. The actors are wonderful. The theater is precious and sweet. It's a good environment. It's not like crawling into one of the holes and, you know, down on Santa Monica Boulevard where you're afraid you're going to get mugged on the way out, or you hope your car's still there at the end of the show. It's Two Roads Theater in Studio City, and, you know, the Aroma Cafe is a couple doors down, and what is it? Vitelli's Italian, you know, where the Robert Blake murder thing. And then there's taco places across the street, and there's a pizza parlor next door, and a darling coffee shop, espresso, and then little retail and antique shops. It's like a little slice of heaven there, on Tujunga Avenue in Studio City. And it's not far from Glendale. It's not far from, it's just Lancashire. I don't know. It's a wonderful experience. It's in a pleasant environment, neighborhood, and we're all nice. It's not one of those things, because I go to the theater all the time where there's, a 12-year-old behind the counter haggling with me over a club soda, Do you know what I mean? Where you're kind of ignored and somebody is real spacey and they don't really like you. I really like you. And I'm really glad you're coming to see my play. And I want you to feel comfortable and have a good time. So I'm not going to say it's a party. It's not a party, but coming to see Escape from the Garden is a good experience. What do we call it? Good vibes? I don't know. I think it's a wonderful experience. It is for me. And I refuse to go places where people are, look like they're going to go jump off the bridge after the show, And I'm not talking about content of show. I'm talking about the atmosphere, the mise en scène. I mean, I'll go see Eugene O'Neill any day, and that's a wrist slitter. I love Tracy Letts, August in Osage County. That's a wrist slitter. I love those. But if I go somewhere and people are nice to me in the theater space, it makes me feel, I don't know. Don't you feel that way? Don't you feel when somebody is welcoming and nice, you have a better experience. And I guess what I have always felt about theater is that it is an experience, a unique and wonderful experience. I would tell viewers to definitely keep coming to Two Heads Are Better Productions because we care. We try to get the best people to work with. We try to give you entertainment. We don't dial anything in. We work hard and we have talented and wonderful people to work with. And you should watch We're Not Dead Yet because Sandy and I have a keen sense of the audacious, crazy, absurd behavior with having a good time and also saying something. And We're Not Dead Yet has been so much fun. And we want everybody to see it. We've won award after award after award with it. And it is on YouTube and it's We're Not Dead Yet. I think it pops up without the apostrophe. So it looks like a past tense of were, W-E-R-E. But We're Not Dead Yet. We have I think 16, 17 episodes up there. And we won the grand award with an episode called Stand Up. That's where my character Lily goes into a park on a Sunday morning and tries to do stand up. And, naturally there's a drunken homeless person there, a bird watcher and a gay guy, that's it. That's the audience. And Dita's with me, of course. And then we go and try to audition for a gig in an old folks home. And I finagled getting us into an actual old folks home, and that episode's called Assisted Living. So we do crazy fun things. Now, I think you'd enjoy the heck out of it. Well, the reason that Two Heads Are Better Productions and We're Not Dead Yet and all the plays that Sandy and I produce are important is it's important to keep expressing. And we try to use as many old women like ourselves as we can because we're not dead yet. There is more to life than just having a hard body. God knows I had one for years. I used to be cute back in my 20s and 30s. Oh my God, I had to beat the guys off with a stick. Now people say things. I was at Bristol Farms buying something the other day. And the guy said to me, and I even had a mask on, and he said, "Oh, well, naturally you get the senior discount." And my mind just went, I'm wearing a mask. My hair's not gray. And I thought to myself, how the hell am I giving myself away as an old person? And he said, "Do you need help out to the car?" And I was carrying a pie. So I figure there's just nothing like getting older if you're a female. So Two Heads Are Better Productions, we're old ladies, as you would call us, the elderly, having a ball, and we're not dead yet. And we do one crazy thing after another, and we need money to do it. We have spent thousands of our own dollaros. We financed this entire production of mine, and the theater, renting the theater. You don't even want to know what that costs, do you? Renting the theater, getting everything together to do it. There's a song in chorus line, and I know you know what it is, right? Kiss the day goodbye. What I did for love. It costs a fortune to do theater and to film your own little episode. I'm a retired teacher living on a pension, and Sandy still does hair and many other things. So we do whatever we can. I'm in substitute teaching. Yesterday, I substitute taught Spanish. I don't speak Spanish, but this is just to get the cash together to put on a show. It's like Mickey Rooney and Judy Garland. Let's get the barn together, and let's get all our friends together, and we'll put on a show. Well, that's what we're doing. We're, trying to get the money scraped together so that we can continue. Oh my God, if you guys want to donate, just go on to our webpage, Two Heads Are Better Productions. And we have a thing you can click. You can just donate right there and then. If my interview today made you feel deep pity and sorrow, and fear that I'm going to get locked up in the nut house any minute, for God's sakes, give me money. Give Sandy money. Give us both your cash. I think, it's both realistic and absurdist. Escape from the Garden. I think it's hilariously funny, although I think it's very touching and heartwarming. I think you can come away having learned something you didn't know, many things probably you didn't know before. And I'm grateful to be able to write it and to have it and to be able to produce it and to have actors as brilliant as the actors I have are. It's all good. So I'm Sarah Hunter. I'm one half of Two Heads Are Better Productions. Sandra Cruze and I have a website that we want you to go on, Two Heads Are Better Productions. You can see our series, We're Not Dead Yet, where we do crazy antics as senior citizens, which we are. And Escape from the Garden is our most recent project. I wrote it. I co-produced it. Sandy co-produced and stars in it. We have a fabulous cast, which has been nothing but a dream to work with. We're at the darling Two Roads Theater in Studio City on Tujunga Avenue. There are only 48 seats, so I suggest you go online to eventbrite.com and save yourself a seat. Get a ticket now. We've gotten a fabulous review, well-deserved, and I'm happy, and I hope you come and see it. And I guarantee you will laugh.